In a busy town, it was another typical morning. Villagers were busy with their daily routines, some trading goods, others heading out to the fields, and a few opening their small shops. Under a large tree, a young man sat, lost in his thoughts. This was Theo, a boy famous in town for his laziness and poverty. Physically, he had everything a young man could want: tall, strong, and healthy. But something inside him had stolen his ambition. Theo refused to work, but spent all his time dreaming of becoming rich. He never made any real effort, hoping instead that luck would drop wealth right into his lap. Even his meals often came from the generosity of villagers who sometimes gave him food. One morning, a wealthy merchant from the town began handing out fresh milk to those in need, as a gesture of gratitude for a fruitful year. Theo, hearing the news, didn't hesitate and quickly joined the line. Soon he held a pot of fresh milk, looking delicious. Excited, he rushed home. Using the stove and firewood his father had left, he boiled the milk. Their small kitchen was ready, with 2 slices of bread waiting on the table. After a while, the bubbling sound of the milk showed it was ready. Theo poured some into a bowl, ate it with the bread for breakfast, and placed the rest beside his bed. But instead of helping his father in the fields, he lay down in his room and began daydreaming. If he became rich, all his problems would disappear. His thoughts turned to the pot of milk beside him. He imagined it turning into cheese overnight. Then he would sell it at the market and make money. With that money, he'd buy a hen. The hen would lay eggs, which would hatch into chicks. He'd raise the chicks until they grew, eventually owning a full poultry farm. Theo's imagination kept flowing. Then he'd sell the chickens, buy some cows, and open a dairy farm. Everyone in town would buy milk from him. He would become very wealthy, buy fine jewelry, and even the king would purchase from him. Later, he would marry a beautiful woman from a rich family and have a son. And if his son turned lazy, he would teach him a lesson. How could his son be lazy when his father had become rich, starting from just a pot of milk? Lost in his daydream, Theo grabbed a stick while imagining scolding a lazy person. But, oops, he accidentally hit the pot of milk, spilling it everywhere. That snapped him back to reality. He stood still for a moment, disappointed. Then, cleaning up the mess, he returned to his daydreams. The next morning, he decided to walk around the village, hoping someone generous would give out charity again. Nothing had changed. His life was still poor and miserable. Friends, sometimes we have unrealistic hopes of achieving big things but do nothing, just sitting idle. It's a harsh truth. But what if, starting today, we planted a rule in our minds? Our actions must match our dreams? To succeed, the key is hard work. To achieve, the key is discipline. To receive God's guidance, the key is prayer. Even if we are lazy, changing our habits can help us succeed. Vocabulary from the story. Aspirations, strong hopes or ambitions to achieve something. Example: she has big aspirations to become a doctor. Distribute, to give something to people. The teacher distributed the homework to all the students. Bountiful, large in quantity. The garden had a bountiful harvest this year. Imagination, the ability to form ideas or pictures in your mind. Children often have very active imaginations. Poverty, the state of being extremely poor. Many people live in poverty despite working hard. Miserable, very unhappy or uncomfortable. Keep listening, learning, and growing. Make sure to like, comment, and share. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story, where we'll continue learning together.